Hello everybody, my name is Big, but today we will be starting a new series on containerization. So let's begin, shall we? In this video I will introduce you to containerization and what we'll be doing throughout the series. Let's first talk about what is containerization. Containerization is a way of packaging your software and its dependencies into a container. It also allows you to create separate environments on your system without having to run a virtual machine. Currently, most popular containerization system is probably Docker, which is also the first bigger topic of the series. So at this point, some of you may ask, you talked about containers, but what are those? Container is a package you use in containerization. It is a built from base environment. Think of it like an OS and software you want to package and its dependencies. This makes containers portable and exactly the same every time you start one from the image. Container is an instance of an image and can therefore deviate from it. Image is a template of sorts. It represents the state of environment at some time. Most of the time that is state after build. Images are great because you can share them through repositories like the example Docker repository, Docker registry, which is Docker's main repository. As said before, each container that you start from, that image will be on start exactly the same. This makes this system quite portable and predictable. You can run multiple instances of the exact same image, which is nice because if you have to test something on, let's say, a database, you can quickly stand up an instance of the database without ever touching your production database. Now, there is an age-old question. What is better, VM or container? And the answer can be quite complex, but the short answer is it depends on your situation. Now let's go into the long answer, which can be quite long. Both allow you to get most out of your hardware, but they do have benefits and drawbacks. With virtual machines, you need to virtualize everything from the hardware up, which means you have to virtualize everything from CPU, and many times now CPU is actually not virtualized, but not exactly virtualized, but many other aspects you need to virtualize, including network interfaces. But with containers, you don't virtualize much since it uses your system's kernel and such. So VMs do have a bigger split between your system and the virtual system, but because of that they use a lot more resources. They also take a, quite a bit more space and a lot more time to start, but they do have bigger security control and better network stack control. But that is uh, being delivered better and better depending on which containerization you use and such. Also, containers allow for quite an easy orchestration as we see with Kubernetes or Kubernetes. Now, let's talk about different containerization technologies, containerization systems. Before we mention Docker, but there are others. For example, under the name Linux containers, under which you can also find Docker, depending on who you ask. That is, we can find LXC, which is the short for Linux containers, but you can find other containerization technologies like LXD, which is a Canonical made upgrade to LXC, which provides modern and better user experience, but it does use LXC under hood. Also, our Linux container system is that uses LXC is Proxmox's Container Toolkit, also known as PCT, Proxmox Container Toolkit. We will in future look at LXC, specifically we'll look at Canonicals LXD and probably at PCT as well. Container orchestration. I also mentioned container orchestration. Container orchestration is automatic management of containers. Using container orchestration, you can automatically scale your containers across multiple nodes, including on-demand deployment. A great aspect is automatic scaling of networking, which allows for great and quick high availability and load balancing, which allows for you to use your infrastructure to a better degree. In some cases, you can even go so far that you can even scale down all the way to zero if there is no need for that specific container at the time. Many companies use container orchestration in combination with microservices, which are a way of writing your application in which you break it down into smaller pieces that are not tied together but can work together. Currently, there are few popular container orchestration systems available. Most popular among them all is probably Kubernetes. So now let's finally look at what we will doing in this series. I have I have throughout the video already mentioned what I will be doing, but now let's condense it in a segment. So first, my plan is to make videos for all who are interested in containerization. The plan the plan is I'll mention in next few minutes that but can change depending on many factors. Series will include videos like this where I just talk complete theory, but will also include some where we apply the theory and some we do practical stuff, like for example, video where we install Docker engine, which is what Docker uses as a front end, and backend stuff. We'll start with Docker, where we will look at everything from installing it, so installing Docker engine, to networking to building the images. After that, we will look into LXD and afterwards PCT. After we will know about all of these container technologies, we will double back into the world of Docker and look at Kubernetes, a way of orchestrating your containers, specifically for Docker and Docker related technologies. After the recording of the video, I found out that I made an incorrect statement about relationship between Canonical and LXD, where I said that LXD was made by Canonical, which is incorrect since it is sponsored by Canonical. And well, thank you guys for watching. While this video was short, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Oh yes, and to be notified about your future videos, including videos in this series, you should probably ring that notification bell, which is located beside the subscribe button. And now, don't forget, use the tools that make your job easier, not the tools that follow philosophy you subscribe to. Goodbye.